last time, when we heard that her screen time has been reduced to like 10 minutes in Aquaman 2, people were asking, why not just cut her off from the movie? Because you're basically risking your movie with just 10 minutes, for just 10 minutes of her. And maybe they actually thought about it. And now, especially after the end of the trial, um, the report basically is that, well, it's not an actual official report, but insiders have been claiming that all of her scenes are now being cut, which is, I feel that's a really good thing. Not just because it's Amber Heard, whatever. I don't give a fuck about that, but um, because this movie was at the risk of failing miserably because of her. That's the only concern I had, because you at least have her throughout the movie like you had before, or you just cut her off. You have like 10 minutes of her. Why would you put your movie at risk just for 10 minutes? It's not like Warner Brothers is known for having complete director's visions intact for every DCU movie. They cut stuff all the time, so what's another 10 minutes, right? So if she's not that important to the story, to the core story of Aquaman 2, where you just have 10 minutes of her, why even have that, right? You can just cut her and make up some random stuff in reshoots or whatever. So maybe that's the case right now. As of right now, the insiders are reporting that that's the case. I feel it's a good move. What do you think, Mar?
Yes, and can you see Lewis? He's here now as well. Can you
Oh,
see
is
that?
he?
He's equipping
Hello.
Let
yours.
me add him 1 second. You keep going, I'll just add
I
him.
don't want to see my
Yeah.
beautiful face.
Okay. Mera. I've been following the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial basically because I was just at home and it was on in the background, just watching it and stuff. And it was interesting to see, like, because a lot of the accusations she had against Johnny Depp, a lot of it came out to be false and a lot of it came out to be lies. While Johnny Depp was embracing his drug life, his alcohol life, the kind of dark side to him, but he kind of proved he never hit her, he never assaulted her like that, and he won. Well, the two of them kind of won, but Johnny Depp had
In the
more
trial in terms
wins
of the
in the trial
claims
in
and
terms
stuff
of the
like that, and
claims and stuff like
Amber
that.
Heard doesn't pay him
Amber
more
Heard
money,
doesn't pay
but
him more
it's
money.
probably never going to be paid.
It's probably never going to be paid. It's probably never going to get his reputation back, and I think he has in a
But
way.
her being removed,
But her being removed, they removed Johnny Depp
Fantastic
from
Beasts. They fired him,
Fantastic
they brought
Beasts.
in
They
Mads
fired him, they brought
Mikkelsen.
in Mads
I don't know if that
Mikkelsen.
worked or not.
I don't know if
for
that
the
worked or
perception
not,
of the movie
the
or not.
perception of the movie or
But
not.
he was fired because it
He
would
was
have brought
fired because it would have brought
bad
to
PR
the
to
movie in their
the
eyes,
movie in
and
their
Disney
eyes,
wasn't
and then
moving
Disney
forward with
weren't
Pirate
moving
Six
forward with
because
Pirate
the same
Six
thing,
because the same
talk
thing.
of Margot Robbie coming in
Talk
for
of
a
Margot
female
Robbie coming in
reboot,
for a
which I don't
female
think would do
reboot,
too
which I
well. It
don't
was
think
just
would
her.
do too
I
well. It
think
was just her.
now
I think Johnny Depp and her should be in their
Johnny Depp and
own.
her should be in their own movie together. Johnny Depp should be brought back, I think. But yeah, Amber Heard. Look, I don't think she's like one of my favorite actors. Like, I haven't seen her in enough stuff. I've seen her in Zack Snyder's Justice League, Aquaman 1, and she was fine. She's cool. She's all right. She's not like terrible or anything. She's fine. But I don't think the movies die or live if she's in them that kind of way. I don't think they need her necessarily. But yeah, look, a lot of bad stuff came out. There's a lot of bad press around her big time right now. So it's going to affect the movie and the online perception of the movie. And usually audiences, I would say, probably wouldn't care about this kind of stuff. But this trial was televised. It was all over the internet. It was memes everywhere, TikToks, YouTube channels. It was embraced big time, positively and negatively. And she was on the negative side of a lot of that. So we heard Grace Randolph say that she was only in 10 minutes of the movie. And then I kind of said when that happened as well, a lot of us did as well, that if she's only in 10 minutes, I bet you it's easy to cut her out for the entire movie. And I'm guessing that they kind of shot around her when they actually shot the movie. They probably have her off on her own side mission, which could be easily cut out of the movie. And it looks like that could be the case right now. I don't think they'll get in a replacement Mera just yet, like Amelia Clark or anything like that to recast. But I wouldn't be surprised if she only has a tiny, tiny scene or reference in the movie. It's a shame in a way if you're a Mera fan, but to me, I'm just going in to see Patrick Wilson and Aquaman, really. So I don't think she's that big of a loss. But I have to say, I liked her in the Snyder Cut. I thought her accent was cool and she looked cool, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing her. But if Warner Brothers got rid of Johnny Depp for the same kind of situation, then why shouldn't they get rid of Amber Heard? Double standards? I don't know.
Yeah, like for
Yeah,
even
so,
for me, I don't feel like, I don't think she's definitive Mira or something like that. I feel like she is, if she's gone, I won't miss her, basically, is what I'm saying. But I'm not opposed to having seeing her. Like, I won't boycott or anything. I won't hate her on screen as long as she's, good on screen. I'm fine with it. But financially, for Warner Brothers, for a business, from a business point of view, I think it's a bad move to have her. Just even if it's 10 minutes or whatever, I feel like cutting her off would be a better option at this point, which is apparently what they're doing. So I hope so. But anyway, welcome, Lewis, for the first time on the show. How are
Thank
you
you.
doing?
Thank you.
It's been a long time.
I'm doing good. Yes, it's been such a long time. It's just been all hands on deck in terms of stuff I'm doing in my life. And that's been sad, but it's been nice to see that you guys have carried on and keep smashing out this show all the time. And I would have loved to have been here for the whole thing, but as I was talking to Short earlier today, he was just like, "Yeah, here's the things we're going to talk about." I'm like, I haven't seen any of these. I'm so behind. Like yesterday, I was feeling kind of ill, and I was like, I'm just gonna get in bed and I'm gonna start watching season 3 of The Boys, and then I was out like a light second I got in bed. I'm like, no, that's not happening. So I'd love to catch up with all the things that I've
if
missed.
anyone doesn't know, I was watching myself and Lewis had our own show, the movie Buffs channel. It's still there.
And then I stole you from him.
And we will come back around to it.
Yeah, yeah. You're poaching my best talent. I gotta start.
I'm not
Pick somebody
there.
else.
No, but we had our own show and we did interviews on it. We did weekly videos and topics and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. It's just personal life got in the way. Lewis was busy with school and other stuff, and I was busy, and we just didn't happen as much as we wanted it to. But we definitely will. We'll make something happen. We'll get back going because it was a lot of fun, and we watched it. So
Yeah, it was really enjoyable, and like that's why when I was asked about this, I was like, hell yeah, I'd love to come back on because this stuff is a lot of fun, and just kind of shooting the shit about movies and shows and all kind of pop culture stuff is a blast. So I'm very, very grateful to be here. Thank you guys.
Awesome, Lewis. So your first topic ever on this show will be Amber Heard. What do you think of it?
Topic that I've got to drag on. So like, I think like a lot of people, I just didn't give a shit about this at all. But it seemed to like infiltrate every element of like social media and online discussion. Like you couldn't avoid it. And there's extremely serious stuff going on. And this was an extremely serious thing. It's a case about defamation. It's about domestic abuse. It's about really serious shit. And the thing that I found the most unsettling about it, to be honest, was like the kind of like the stan and fandom culture that swarmed behind it. It was so toxic online. I was seeing, on Instagram, I'd be getting recommendations of videos from the trial, and it would be people like standing certain lawyers and talking about like, oh my god, this lawyer's so good at her job, and this guy's so great at his job, and they're so bad. Oh my god, look at this moment where they make eye contact. And I'm like, there was this really like weird fascination with the whole thing that was really kind of unsettling. And I get like people, especially in the Depp camp, they've grown up with Johnny Depp movies, and he's a great actor. But I think a lot of people kind of miss the mark, and that this is a serious legal trial about defamation and abuse, and like this is not something to be like making fucking TikToks about. This is serious. In terms of the implications for the projects that the respective actors are in, I think because of the fact that it got so blown up online, there were millions of people watching the verdict. I think because of that, it's like, yeah, I think the safest bet is to just drop them from their respective projects. If Amber Heard is removed from Aquaman entirely, I mean, it's surely got to have an impact on the movie because, even if she's only in it for like 10 minutes, maybe it's okay. That the movie will survive without her scenes. But you can't help but feel that it might be quite obvious when there's just like a scene, like you feel like there's a scene missing. Like you should have talked to somebody about this new fight that he's got coming up. He needs to talk to Mera about it, or And yeah, as I just saw in the chat as well, like the idea of refilming, I think Warner Bros. Are kind of screwed either way. That that is going to cost a lot of money, even if it's just 10 minutes worth of scenes.
Exactly.
Especially when it's a movie like Aquaman that's so VFX heavy. I don't know. Luckily, I think a lot of people enjoyed the original Aquaman for reasons other than Amber
Yeah.
Heard. So I have no real side in the story because I don't know enough about it. Because it'd be my safe answer. But I wouldn't be surprised if they cut her entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, like look, you bring up a great point. Like she wasn't even the highlight of the first movie. So character wise, I don't think there was a strong you know, a strong foundation built anyway. So I feel like
Yeah.
if this character is missing from the second movie, I feel the audience wouldn't mind it that much. But having her in there could financially, affect the movie. And yes, um, even removing her could be an issue because maybe the story actually she plays an important part in the story, and that could be somewhat an issue. But like I said, it's not the first time that a WB movie a plot line was cut and stuff like that happened. So this time they would have a valid reason to do so, especially after she kind of threw Walter Marda and the other WB execs under the bus, saying they cut me out, they reduced my role and stuff like that. So Hamada just basically threw her under the bus as well. Like he basically said she had no chemistry with Momoa, and we had to make it seem like they had chemistry because of editing. And then the lawyer or whoever were questioning him basically said, but don't you do that for every movie? And then Hamada basically didn't have any answer. So that's also a two-sided thing, because yes, you cut around those weaker moments in film editing anyway, so it wasn't like it was done specifically for her. So but she's not the greatest actress either, so I can understand that point. But yeah.
It's funny because Johnny Depp, of course, had issues with drugs and alcohol, and there was like the Amber Heard side were trying to bring in that he'd show up late for set, he wouldn't know his line and stuff like that. And then they were questioning Johnny Depp about, didn't you, John, or weren't you wearing a earpiece because you didn't know your lines for movies? Was this because you were drunk and drugs and stuff like that? And Johnny Depp was like, well, Marlon Brando wore an earpiece. He's one of the greatest actors of all time. So it's just funny. Johnny Depp, I thought, handled himself very well, just because he's an actor. He was acting,
Yeah.
of course, and he has a personality to him, and stuff like that. But that's what it was. It was like, who can present themselves better? Who can maybe tell lies a little bit better than the other person in a way? But Johnny Depp did clear his name on a lot of stuff. And I think what's going against Amber Heard is there's not one piece of recording where Johnny Depp admitted to hitting Amber Heard, but Amber Heard admitted to hitting Johnny Depp, and it's on recording. So like that's abuse. That's physical violence, whatever way you want to look at it. And she admitted to it, so that might be going against her as well. So look, I'm not going to boycott any movie because an actor's in it. I watch them because of how good they are at the work, not because of how they walk their dog or stuff like that. I don't really care what they do with themselves. I like some actors personally, their online presence, but that's all it is. It's just an online avatar presence. I don't know what they're like at home, and I never will know what they're like at home. I just want to watch the movies because I like them in movies. That's it.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see kind of like how, I mean, it's not. I don't know. I don't know if you can equate the two, but kind of seeing what's going on with Ezra Miller at the moment, and kind of how he seems to be living kind of like a GTA life, where he just kind of goes and assaults somebody, and then he goes to prison, and he comes out and assaults somebody again, goes to prison, or they, sorry, but it's like, every single big tentpole thing that they have coming out is just getting blasted by this drama behind the scenes, and it's like they just want to get some momentum post Zack Snyder, and now they're getting hit by like, oh well, your sequel to the biggest movie you've ever made financially is getting blasted by all this drama that everybody knows about, and then the Ezra Miller stuff is still going on, and that film's been through production hell ever since it started.
The Ezra thing, I think, is kind of smaller than this because he's not that famous.
Yeah.
And his issues aren't
Watching
even
on
big.
YouTube every day as well.
Yeah, and it's not even his issues weren't even that big compared to what this was. Like, he already went to jail and they already bailed him out, stuff like that, the next day. And it was Hawaii, and there's more to that story than we know. So, and Warner Brothers clearly said that they are backing him up and they won't be replacing him and stuff like that, mainly because they literally cannot afford to, because he's playing three characters in that movie, so it's impossible. So yeah, that will be done. But what this means for Amber Heard for Aquaman 2 is that she might be cut off, but they cannot recast her in the movie itself. She will be cut off, and in the next movie maybe they'll recast her. But for if Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 happens, and she was in the Nightmare, clearly Zack doesn't need to bring her, bring Mera in, because the Nightmare is basically different timelines anyway. So every time they reset,
Yeah.
they have a different set of characters. So Mera doesn't need to be there. But even if Zack needs Mera, he can obviously recast as well. But I feel like Zack would rather, change the character itself, like bring in Black Canary maybe. Journey is already liking this universe, so why not bring her? She's badass. You can do that. But yeah, I feel like that won't affect the Justice League 2 movie that much, but Aquaman 3 it might affect much. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, I think the most likely outcome is they just cut her entirely, because I think, as you guys have touched on, like, she is only in it for like 10 minutes of screen time or whatever. As we were saying, the things that really sold the first one were Aquaman, Ocean Master, Black Manta. Like, if they're in the next movie, I think everyone's happy, really. I think those are the big selling points of the first one. And I think if you had to pick one to go out of those three in Mera, I think most people would probably pick her. Even without like all the trial stuff, to be honest. She wasn't bad in the first one, but it's just like the other three were just like so badass that you just had to have them in the movie. But yeah, I think Warner Bros. Have to be looking at it financially. That's the only angle they look at anything, really, is to say, okay, well, chances are she's still in the movie when it comes out. Like, you saw what happened to online chatting and discourse on social media. Like, this trial was everywhere. You know for a fact this movie's going to get blasted by Depp stands and whatnot, just trying to and people who just hate Amber Heard. It's got to be the safest bet for them. If I was a betting man, I'd put my money on her just getting taxed entirely. I would believe the rumors.
Yeah, Rokan?
I think cutting Mera out is the best course to go. And I say this as somebody who I absolutely love Mera in the comic book. She's an incredible, like, badass character. And I don't want to see an actress taint that character at all. I think cutting her stuff out and then just going for a straight up recast is the best course of action. Because you can still have Mera, you can still bring Mera in for a future movie, just have it be just a different actress. And I'd heard kind of like theories that maybe they're going to kill Mera off in Aquaman 2, which I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want Amber Heard to play her again if it's going to taint the film. But I don't want the character of Mera to kind of like be killed off and then be like, okay, here's this somebody else now. So I think cutting her out and just recasting for a future film is kind of like the best course to go. And it could be Emilia Clarke. I've always thought Riley Keough could be a great Mera, personally. I know people want her as Poison Ivy, but I think Riley Keough's a better fit for Mera in my book. But I think they're looking at it like they don't want this movie to be tainted more than it already has, and it's hard. It's a ballsy thing to kind of do. Kind of like have the Aquaman 2 posters all over Times Square, and you're going to have Mera on one of the posters. Like, people are going to be like, I'm not going to see that movie if that's the case.
The good thing is the trailer didn't come out yet.
That exactly. We've only seen just bits and pieces of footage, and it's just been mainly just stuff with Aquaman and Black Manta and Ocean Master. So I think this is just kind of like the best course to go. That's all I will say on that front. Just the fact that I think I feel like that's just the better approach to kind of like, you know, take from all this, just to not taint anything. I do agree with Lewis on one thing, on the fact that it got really weird and kind of sickening to me to see that trial be memed and TikTok to hell. Because I didn't see that shit with like, you didn't see people doing memes and TikToks of like, you know, like the fucking Casey Anthony trial, or, you know, or any of these types of like major trials. It was just for this one for some reason. So it's why I never spoke up. It's why I never kind of like talked about it, just because I was just like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to imbue myself into that.
Yeah, same. I didn't watch
Again, back
anything
to-
from that. Just maybe some clips of, you know, that popped up on Instagram sometimes or something like that. But apart from that, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I don't give two shits about any of this. But since this
Yeah.
shit is in our movies that we love, we are forced to talk about this, and it's sad that
I understand. I totally
Yeah.
get it.
I like courtroom dramas and stuff like Better Call Saul, Lincoln
of
Lawyer.
course you do, Maher.
Like
Hey, A Time to Kill is a masterpiece. Okay.
yeah, Time to Kill, yeah. But no, yeah, no, that's Joel Schumacher, Matthew McConaughey. That's fantastic. But no, I always loved even The Judge or Robert Downey Jr. I love courtroom movies, and now to see one I can watch on YouTube with one of the biggest movie stars in the world, I'm gonna watch this. So I watched it, and I found it fascinating at times, because just I don't know, I just like watching the lawyers kind of do their lawyering.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
You're one of those.
But overall, yeah, overall, man, I just like I said, this is just the best course to take, and I do agree. Maybe if Justice League 2 and 3 happens, you could do that actress that you recast Mera with that actress, or I think the better option personally is to do Black Canary, just because, you know, Journey's my wife and I have to support the wife.
I mean, she supported the Snyder Cut, so Zach should
Zach
should
she
run
did.
her in.
Absolutely.
And just imagine how badass she would be in that movie.
Oh, can you imagine Canary cries to parodying it,
yeah.
and you see, like, you know, Stevens getting exploding?
She
Yeah,
was
awesome,
already
man.
badass in Birds of Prey. So just imagine how she'd be in not just a Justice League movie, but in a Nightmare World. So yeah.